Welcome to this video on the Sanawara channel. My name is Sri Satguru, Buddha Rawa Bhagwan. Today's video we're going to talk about technologies to cleanse a space. So it's very important to cleanse spaces, okay? We are within spaces, and as you cleanse the space, you cleanse what's within it, right? So you cleanse spaces, you cleanse yourself, and personal cleansings are very important, as well as cleansing of the space and area in which you work or operate, or in which you are, so when you enter through a doorway into a room, right, you enter a different space, right? The power of a doorway through which you can travel to another place. And spaces are defined by walls, a roof, and a floor, right? So different spaces exist, right? That which contains, that which isolates the space from the outside, right? With doorways and windows, etc. Okay, access points to those spaces. Okay, now you might be outside in the pure air and you think you're not in a space. Yes, you are, because yes, there are doorways, and yes, you are in a defined place. So yes, you are in a space. Okay, you're always in a space. Okay, and there are spaces within spaces. Okay, and different boundaries and definitions of spaces. Okay, but essentially everything's in a space, and we can basically isolate those spaces into specific spaces in which we find ourselves at a given time, right? So a little bit like the Russian doll concept, you have a doll within a doll within a doll within a doll within a doll. This is a very important concept to understand. It talks about containers and information between containers, right? Inside containers, and containers that contain information that contain containers that contain information, right? It also talks about downward programming. So it's a very fundamental concept, the Russian doll. Okay, what we need to understand about containers is that containers and information is how everything operates. Everything works. Everything is a container or information, right? And some things can be at the same time seen as containers that are also information. So they contain information. So everything in a way is information. Everything is energy. Everything is light. Okay? And many cultures in the world have talked about the light. All right? Many cultures. So everything is information. And this information travels from one place to the next. Okay? This is how it works. This is how it operates. Things move around, right? Containers move around, information moves around. Some containers are sentient. Those are Sivas, sentient intelligent vehicle activities, where you can find the name of God Shiva, right? Sentient hero intelligent vehicle activity, right? And there's containers and information that move around, right? So this is how it works. This is how it is. This is an interesting thing for me. I don't often forget the subject of the video on which I'm working on. So I'm kind of got pulled into a side discussion, right, about containers and information. So maybe I'll continue on the containers and information for now, right? Containers move through the Kalachakra. Okay, the Kalachakra is the system in which the containers move, the system of time and space. And everything exists within the Kalachakra. Okay, so if you're interested in the Kalachakra, you can look up Kalachakra mandala, okay, which is Tibetan origin, right? And you can see a view of the Kalachakra that was brought by the Buddha to the people, right? So this view basically shows the Kalachakra and the movement of information containers within tunnels of time and space, okay? And there are inner views going in and views going out of the Kalachakra, and visualize the tunnels information containers moving through the tunnel, and you are also a container in your vehicle, and you are moving through tunnels of time and space. Okay, and these tunnels have walls, and these are called matter, right? And you can build into the matter, you can create your homes into the matter of the stable time and space. So stable time and space is matter that has been made stable, right? which leads to places where we can build warrens or dwellings of life within the walls of the Kalachakra. So who organizes the organization and mapping of the Kalachakra? That's the black color in the Kalachakra, the system administrator. Hello, hello. And the black color in the Kalachakra, the system administrator, organizes and restructures reality and the doorways of reality and the warrens, collapsing sometimes at the same time, right? In the search of development of the Kalachakra and the establishment of stable pathways and doorways in the Kalachakra walls of time and space to allow for the development of stories, right? But these stories sometimes they mine into each other. They mine too deep into the walls because they use the matter of their stabilized walls of the Kalachakra to build life into, right? They build upon that matter. So visualize the planet if you want to see it that way, right? So at that point, in the stabilized zones, they mine into the walls of the Kalachakra. And since they are themselves in the walls of the Kalachakra, that means they're mining horizontally to the tunnels of the Kalachakra, which means that they could mine into another creation, which is also down the tunnel of the Kalachakra, also into a wall. So they could also be mining, and then the two minings mine into each other. They come close to each other, and that affects the stability of that area. So what happens is then you have earthquakes, which are reorganizations of the walls of the Kalachakra, right? Which manifest as earthquakes here, which are done by God to maintain the stability of the structure of the story, or of reality as we know it. Okay, so it looks like the conversation took a little bit of a different turn than where we had first started it. Okay, so we'll end it here at that, and I thank you for listening to this video on the Zen Aura channel.